Welcome to the Mailrite Real Estate Agent Show, episode 33.
I don't know what you're on, Bill. God
that means
knows.
put the music in. There's no music.
No, it's terrible, isn't it?
It's the
So, Bill, what are we going to be talking about today, Bill?
So we're going to talk about referrals. CRS, GRA. I just paused. We'll put a couple seconds pause in there if we were to edit this. I would like to get this into the podcast territory. We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because, I got mixed feelings on podcasts, though. So CRS, here is a CRS.
It's only worth is because it helps people listen to it on the car, doesn't it? Really?
That's it.
That's about it, really. So are we going to start?
Well, open that link up real fast.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. And when we go to something like that, we can transition and say, like we're paused right now. Well, we're still recording. Duh. That's strange. Okay, Jonathan, CRS stands for Certified Residential Specialist. I suggest anybody who's serious about real estate start this process early. It's very expensive. It costs a few $1,000s to get, but the people are excellent and the courses are excellent. You go. They have something called Celebration, usually in, I think it's mostly in Las Vegas, once a year, but it really is the top agents. And there is a minimum here. Look down below. I just put a link in, folks. If you're on Blab or want to go to our website and find it, basically the CRS credentials, you have to have a minimum of 25 transactions before you can actually apply to be a CRS.
Right.
So, or $8 million with a minimum of 10 transactions within 2 years.
Yeah.
So you've got somebody who's a real agent. If you've made 25 transactions or 8 million in 2 years, you're a real agent. So you've already pared down that this is not a brand new agent or a fly-by-night agent. It's a real agent. So it's a really good credentials. It's really, if you know what the CRS is, it means something. And most agents do not have CRS.
No.
Because they never get to 25 transactions and they never make the $8 million within 2 years.
No, they don't. And actually, to go off a little bit off topic, but it is very linked, folks. Now, I was listening to our last 4 to 5 podcasts, and especially with Craig. We've had a couple, Craig's come on a couple of times where we had how to get your 206, your first quarter off, and you need a plan of action. And actually, Craig gave some really great, which are going to be in the notes on the blog site of Mailrite. He's given some really great resources on online companies that provide really quite quality leads. It's actually, you need some kind of budget, but actually it's not that hard now with a mixture of kind of traditional real estate marketing and choosing one of these online lead providers. It's not that difficult, folks, to actually get some quality leads in your area much more quickly than even a few years ago. So the strange thing I've come to the conclusion, Bill, is it's easier to get started in real estate as an agent if you have some idea what you're doing than probably even a couple of years ago. But you do need, if you're going to utilize these, and Craig gave 2 companies that he recommends that give quality leads. And what I mean by quality leads, folks, is that, for example, let's say you did have a blog site that was getting some reasonable local traction and you had some capture mechanism to get people's email and phone numbers. It probably, or you were looking at some advertisement with Zillow. Well, the quality of those leads would probably about, if you were doing more than 2%, i.e. converting those leads into some form of client. If you got a rate of more than 2%, you'd be doing really quite well. That's But when you utilised a couple of the services that Craig recommended, or you were doing a mixture of what he recommended with traditional real estate, if you're getting started, which is open, joining a brokerage, doing open housing, going to different networking, making sure that you got everybody that you dealt with, that you tried to get their first name and their email address, and really concentrate on building a database. It's getting clients, but you've got two main aims at either you're starting as a new agent or you're trying to get re-established. There's two, obviously, there's the obvious, you're trying to get clients and earn commission. And the second thing is you're building your database. And they're the two things that you should be concentrating. So what do you think about some of the things I've just said, Bill?
All right, on. We talk at two things. You have your personal farm, the people you know and like and trust, you've already built relationships, your family, and then you have your geographical farm. And this is the two fundamental ways to build around those two elements. Pick a geographical farm and have your personal farm. Your personal farm can come from anywhere. So you build that up. Then you have your personal farm. You have those people that live in your community, your city that can use your services. And then you also have the other people outside who you could still get referrals or do that relocation element with. But you're 100% right. And an agent really needs I call it the Christmas card list. Needs a Christmas card list from 300 to 500 people to make a living.
Just right, because what Bill's talking about is 300 to 500 people that you don't bombard them, but what they are is they're people that want to receive materials from you and feel connected to you in some way. And what the amazing thing, Bill, is I think building that connection is actually become easier because you got social media. Mm-hmm. You got electronic methods of keeping in contact with them and kind of producing materials that they connect with you. And it does depend on what kind of agent you are about how the people you connect to and how you maintain that relationship. Because all agents are different. They have different strengths, different weaknesses. And I think you should play for your strengths. But there's an enormous amount of ways of keeping in and building those relationships. So when people and obtaining the much value you can out of that database. But unfortunately, I don't know if you agree with this, Bill. What I've observed is a lot of agents are very, very bad about really keeping in content and getting real value out of their database. What do you think?
The agents who don't do well don't do databases well, and they don't survive. Period. And you got to constantly be working at it.
Yeah,
you have to have a database to survive.
You got to, because it's the foundation of any agent's ongoing business, folks. Otherwise. And we also talked to Craig about this, is you'd be always spending money with people like Zillow, Twilio. And don't get me wrong, my position wasn't, Craig was very, I wouldn't say anti, but he really tries to avoid spending any money with them. My position is that if it's integrated with other forms of marketing, it isn't a problem. Where it becomes a fundamental problem and it hides a more fundamental weakness is that's your only regular form of obtaining leads, quality leads. I see that as a real problem. I think you're not building up your farm, you're not really building up your database, you're not really building relationships. And there's Facebook advertisement, there's utilizing these companies that Craig talked about, there's referrals, there's building. One of the get back to referrals, folk, is there's a lot of agents. Well, there seems to be what I call super agents or super brokers that have got more leads, more quality leads than they know what to do with, and they could be great referral partners if they're finding that there's people moving out of their area to a specific other area for, let's say, the military, or there's some reason. They can be a great partnership, can't they, Bill?
Right. And even if, let's say you don't get the listing, I would go right back and ask the people, hey, folks, do you mind if I where you moving to? I'm going to give you a couple of names here. If you want to use them, that's great. Sorry, I couldn't help you with a house, but here's a couple of names. Go ahead and give them the names and give the phone numbers to those agents so they'll call them.
Yeah.
I mean, just do it. You have nothing to lose because you didn't get the listing.
No, and
you might get a 25% referral.
Yeah. So the other thing is, what's it's not the key to this conversation, but I just wanted to ask you this, Bill. What's your feeling about how agents should approach people that have delisted their property?
That's called an expired.
Expires. What's your thoughts about expires?
Well, technically, in most states and under most realtors, you can't approach expired until it actually expired. Not the day before, not 2 days before. And some agents do that. You're not supposed to. So what I would do in expired, it said immediately, and when that expires that morning, I go ahead and if you got the phone number, have access to call, I'd call them up and say, I noticed your house is expired. That's one way. It said, are you going to keep the house on the market? Now, let me tell you what happens half the time. Some of the people don't know their house is expired. They haven't tracked it. And they have an intention of re-upping it with their agent, or they get frustrated and say, well, it's expired. So as an agent, you never want to let your listing expire. In fact, you want to take long listings so that doesn't happen, because it can even expire during an escrow, which is kind of unique, but you still have that escrow. It's still liable. So you want to keep it listed as long as you can. Longer listings are better. And if people ever have a problem with a long listing, just tell them, look, I've got the easy out. If you really are disappointed, just come to me and we'll withdraw the listing. And there's some benefits there too, because when it's withdrawn, people don't approach it the same way.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other way too is to drop a package that morning. Walk over, knock on the door, and drop a package. Hey, I got a package. I noticed your house expired.
Yeah. What I've studied is in a lot of really very hot areas, expires are inundated, absolutely swamped with inquiries from agents. So. And basically, agents find it hard to get through, but then they forget about it. And what I've researched is some of the more top agents, they have a team and they just keep an eye, and then they approach like 2 weeks later, and they actually get better results because they find it's better to approach those people slightly later. Then because they just get swamped with agents phoning them. So
the most I've seen is like 8 to 10 people call somebody, but a lot of times it's 3 to 5. But you could call them then and then call them back in a few weeks. Even better yet is get the list of expireds from last year. We're in winter right now.
Yeah.
So find out who expired, around Christmas or before Christmas, because most people don't list right now, or if they even around Christmas, and then start talking to people now. So are you thinking about selling your house in the spring?
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is that, I've observed in our discussions with our guests and me immersing myself in the industry and I have tried to immerse myself into the culture, is you find when you got a house up for sale, you get other people putting their houses or property. So is it always really, in your experience, yours and Karen, a really good idea to market to the areas around a property that you're handling?
Yeah, as fast as you can. 10, 5, 5, and 10 immediately on some kind of card. And then do an open house that first weekend and send out 300 to 500 cards around the neighborhood, or walk it.
But do you, when you got the sell sign up, when you are successful in selling it, do you then also continue trying to touch base with the people around the area? Because what I heard is that when you get a successful house sale, and especially if it's slightly above the selling price was above the norm, is you get a lot of interest and you get more properties come up on the market. So did you find that it was worthwhile marketing around?
No, that's, again, when the markets are going up in value, people will put their house on the market more often. And you always keep on marketing an area. That's how you get into an area, sell a house. That's the thing, is the first house is the toughest. First couple of houses, first few listings are the toughest. An agent should really focus on getting listings as a main priority. Now, when you're brand new, it's easier to work with buyers. That's why experienced agents usually get buyers agents to work with them.
Yes.
If you get enough listings, you're going to get the premium buyers, and then you can have assistant help you. But listings is where it's at. Listings are lasters. You survive with listings.
Yes, but would you, like I say, I've been writing up the notes, and actually, folks, if you listen to the past 3 conversations we've had with Craig, there's been a lot of, the other thing is, folks, and I wouldn't say it was a disagreement between me and Craig, because you must understand, folks, that Craig McDowell's area is East Bay, the East Bay, and that's the whole San Francisco and the Bay areas are very, there's hot and there's really hot. And I would say the Bay Area and San Francisco are some of the most hottest areas in the US. So it's become very expensive to advertise on Facebook in those areas. But the good news, folks, is that apart from, let's say, Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco and the Bay Area, the cost of actually advertising on Facebook compared, let's say, to Google AdWords is still very attractive. And the other factor, folks, is the data that you get from Facebook and the way you can focus your adverts is much more, in some ways, even more sophisticated than Google AdWords. So utilize, especially if you're going to do video and it's not that hard now to do a video of oneself and use it as a way to publicize yourself for a very minimum cost. The amount of people that you can put yourself in front of. But you got to understand that, your title and the first people are expecting you to get to this kind of sizzle almost straight away. So they're looking for a real great title of that Facebook video advertisement, and you've got to give them some value really quick. About if you're talking about a specific area and how you can help those people sell their property in that. You just got to get to the point really quick. But through the things that Craig pointed out, the services, he was talking about a couple $100 a month with a couple of these services, and they provide much better quality leads than Zillow would provide. Then you're talking only about $10, $25 a week, maybe at the most, or less, maybe only $10 a month to place some Facebook paid videos of yourself, and you'll be touching like 2,000-3,000 people in your area. What other kind of thing you could do for that kind of budget and touch that many people, Bill?
So, Jonathan, in closing, how do you go about getting leads with Facebook?
Well, I think I think you should look at video, and I think it's video that you got to upload to Facebook. Yes, place it on YouTube, use it for your blog, your website, use it for Twitter. But when it comes to actual Facebook, download that video from YouTube and then reload it, right? Because the way Facebook works at the present moment, you're going to touch a load of people. Tagging is really important. Bill really, and he's totally right, reminded me about Blab and tagging. Mm-hmm. And tagging is something you forget about with Facebook. tend to remember. I tend to remember with Twitter, but tagging is also important. With you tag it with real estate, the local area, and then you upload it. The title is so important. You got to have a snazzy title, and remember that people have got the kind of they expect you. They'll be off in less than 2 seconds. So you really got to get into what the main message of that video really quickly. It's best, don't have loads of flashy graphics starting off for like 20 seconds because nobody's going to watch it. They obviously you've got to have your branding, but they expect you to get in, and it's got to be kind of informational based, Bill. You've got to be offering some insight, and it definitely, and I don't think you can upload it like YouTube. It needs to be a couple minutes, a minute, and you're kind of trying to push them to a longer version that probably would be on your website. And then you're trying to get capture. You would try and offer some, Craig. Oh, I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Basically, got to offer some kind of inducement to get their name. So you got to set up some kind of capture on your website, but it will dramatically increase your exposure. You're building up your credibility as the expert agent in that area. It's really more about that and about getting people to recognize you as slightly different to the herd of other agents that they might be exposed to, Bill.
Right. No, like and trust. With that, Jonathan, let's finish it up. And I've got a couple of people after the show here. We can answer questions for the live audience.
Oh, thanks.
So live audience, don't go away.
See you later, folks. And, building that database. Would you say in your particular industry, that's really very important as well?
No, I don't believe so. And no one's really challenged me on that because the people that are searching life insurance online have an immediate problem. And me reaching out to them 3 months, 6 months, a year from now isn't going to do anything because they've solved the problem. They've purchased the insurance and now they're done. So I've not just lately I changed because I'm using ClickFunnels to where now I can capture those. When the person opts in, I can capture that. But previous to that, I was not.
I think I might have not explained myself. I meant more your existing client base, about keeping in contact with them, and so they refer people to you. I didn't actually mean the pursuit of new clientele that has no relationship with you.
Well, the thing with that is, up to just a few years ago, now the applications and even online are asking for an email address. I don't have their email addresses. So, I never was accumulating the email addresses of current clients.
Do you, we all look back and say, oh, why didn't I do that? Or why didn't I realize that? On reflection, do you think that was a big mistake?
Well, again, going back as many years as I was in it, it just wasn't relevant. Email addresses, nobody had it or knew what to do with it. And it only really applies in the last couple of years. So I would say, to answer your question, yes, because you just never know. Somebody opted in, it's another email, you have a relationship. Why not capture that? You just never know where you might use it. So, I would to answer your question, my advice is, regardless of what you're doing, somebody opts in, have it sent to somewhere where you're capturing it.
I was looking at Dave Wood's background. He's from Michigan. He's a real estate agent, and it looks like he uses all the systems that you're talking about. So if your ability to come on, don't worry about the sound. There he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here he is. Come on, Dave.
Dave, hear what you do. I saw you speak a little bit too. And we can fix this if you're not coming up right now. There you go.
Yeah,
so,
Dave.
I think Michigan, was it Michigan? I forgot.
Michigan City.
Oh, Michigan City.
Which is Northwest Indiana, just outside Chicago.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for joining us, Dave.
Close to Mike.
Yeah, we're just across the plains from each other, just across the Northwest, just across Indiana from each other.
So,
right
Dave, how long have you been? Are you an agent or a broker? Or
In Indiana, we're all brokers. It's just a terminology that it changed at this point. I'm essentially an agent, but we have to be brokers now. So it's just a change of terminology is what it is.
And how long have you been a broker?
This is my third full-time year, but I was a mortgage broker. I was a mortgage guy before this.
So
I've been in real estate since 2003.
So what lessons have you learned, and what marketing have you done that's been the most effective for you?
I'm a Zillow guy. But I'm an online guy. I love being online. So I do YouTube. I do YouTube marketing, video marketing. I'm a big Zillow guy. Trulia, Facebook marketing. I was an early adopter of Facebook. Mike and I were on talked earlier today about LinkedIn. I was a very early adopter to LinkedIn. One of the first guys in Northwest Indiana that was on Twitter. I use YouTube a lot. I mean, how I beat Zillow a lot of times is the long tail keyword. If you're looking for a certain neighborhood in my area and you type in, I can't think of a certain neighborhood now off the top of my head. If you type in that neighborhood, chances are one of my videos is going to pop up.
I just typed in your name and put real estate, and I got you on YouTube.
Yeah,
I got your.
It's not the highest quality videos, but it doesn't have to be. The fact that
I like your banner a lot. Nice colors and bright.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So I was playing with my dog when I saw you guys pop up. My name popped up on something, and I thought I'd join it and come down.
No, it's great of you, Dave. So, do you also religiously try and build up your database of people?
I have an automatic feed. So if you hit a certain web page, you automatically go into my database.
They have to give
their this year is to actively, if I come across you, you're going into my database. But I'm not going to put you on my newsletter unless I get your permission, because I hate that. Because right now there's one company here locally. I won't mention their name, but they. If I meet them once, I automatically go into their newsletter, and I've gotten 30 newsletters from them in the past month, and it's the same newsletter. So every time I see their name, I just delete, and I keep one, and it's the one girl that I know that I like.
Yes. So basically, have you got your own website? I presume
I've got several actually.
You got 7.
Several. I have a landing page for what your home value's worth. Find out what your neighbor's home sold for. I have a domain name driven one.
Can you drop some of them in there?
I'll type it in here in a little bit. I gotta back and remember all the names. I don't have all memorized like I should. But my main one is buyNWI.net. BUI.NWI.net. That's my main one, and that's actually the one that I'm going to start doing a podcast on, a local podcast.
Yes.
And I used to do a podcast. DaveWoodson.com was a podcast, and I got busy and got away from it, and it just. But I interviewed 2 Amazon bestsellers on that, and there's some guy from Northwest Indiana who maybe had 200, 300 listeners was interviewing Amazon bestsellers just because of my social reach on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah. So, but at the core, you would say that at the core of your marketing. So, on reflection, do you feel that you're getting as much value out that database that you could get out of it?
No, I'm not getting what I should be getting out of my hold on, I'm going to put you guys on. I'm getting too much feedback.
No, that stopped. Yeah, it was coming off of you.
Off of me?
It stopped. It stopped.
Yeah, it was coming out of your side.
The one thing I'm not getting the value out of my database is because I'm not using it like I should. And that's one of my goals this year is to get my database up running tip-top shape. I'm using Realty Juggler now. Whether I keep using them or not, I don't know. I may go back to Top Producer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I've got to get it. I've got to get it running right. I mean, that's my lifeblood. If I'm ever going to sell my business someday, I got to have a database worth mining. So.
Yeah, you know, what I observed with the top producers in this industry, Dave, is the amount of effort they put in various forms in getting leads. And obviously it's the quality of those leads and then getting them into their database and then trying to get value from either referrals or reviews or just keeping in contact with that database has been the crucial element of continuing success. I would say, obviously, Trilio, Zillow, Realtor, you know, so would you say that, is it like 2/3 of your budget, your marketing budget is going to Zillow? Would you say
I pay $800 a month, and my lender partner of mine pays about half of that. So about $400 a month right now goes towards Zillow. Half of that is paid by a lender partner.
Right.
We're allowed to do that through our association. What's the word I'm looking for? RESPA guidelines. They're allowed to pay for half of that. They have to be prominently displayed as well. It's worth his while to keep doing it because he's gotten some good leads out of it. And since he's on Zillow, he gets top billing in all my advertising.
Right. So you're becoming quite two good partners, really.
Yeah, we have, and he closes everything pretty quick. I mean, if he didn't do it, if he wasn't worth my while, I wouldn't use him.
So the other factor I hear a lot about when clients are talking about Zillow, and it's not that, and is the quality of the leads. They say that the quality is pretty low, and you really got to have a slick and well worked out system of contacting those leads as quickly as possible. What's your experience of this been?
I think you need to be quick. You don't have to be slick. You need to be quick.
Sure.
If I'm in a movie, I mean, I may text them and say, "Hey, listen, I'm in a movie," or I'm in a movie, and I may call them while I'm during the movie. Or if I'm at before 10:00 at night, if I get a Zillow lead, I'm calling them, and I'm calling them within 5 minutes generally.
Oh, right.
And letting them know where I'm at, what I'm doing. Can I call you in the morning if I'm in the middle of something? And a lot of times, if I tell them, "Hey, I'm watching a movie right now," or I'm out with friends, I'm drinking right now, and a lot of times they'll laugh because they can hear it in my voice. I was like, "Yeah, call us in the morning," and they're okay with that.
Yes,
it's just the fact that you're responding quickly. Yeah. You know, on Christmas Day, I got a Zillow lead, and right before we started opening presents, my mom was still passing them out. I said, "Be right back." I got a Zillow lead. Walked out of the room, called the guy. The guy was like, "Someone's working on Christmas Day." I'm like, "Well, you were working on Christmas Day. You were looking at Zillow."
Hey, Dave, I got stories like that too. I'm a design build engineer, but I'm a licensed broker in California. And my wife, we had real estate brokerage. So my construction office shares a conference room in the backside. And I'd be working all the time design build, late at night. And the phone would ring. I'm a broker, right? So I'm taking it and talking to them. On holidays, we've done a sale. We used to do a sale like every holiday because we were there to help people. You know, on 4th of July, I swear to God, every 4th of July, we'd sell a house. I don't know what it is. That weekend, we'd sell on the weekends when other people are going on parties, Thanksgiving, because I'm working all the time doing design work. Yeah. We're selling houses because no one else is around.
Guys. If I got a lead right now,
why is that? You got a lead?
So
you got to pour integer.
Oh, he's gone. You need to refresh that.
Well, what he said reminded me.
No, if I got one, I'd hang up on you.
Oh, he's come back.
How do I refresh?
He can come back. There he comes.
Oh, here he comes.
So in the old days, though, that happened all the time. I tell my wife, look, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, because I'd be working all the time. Those are my work times. What happened, Dave?
I don't know what happened.
Can I ask you another question? You mentioned Twitter. So what's been your experience of trying to utilize Twitter as a method of getting referrals? Oh, he's frozen again. I think might come back. Yes, you kind of dropped down, Dave, but you might come back. I would refresh again, Dave.
Sometimes you close up Chrome and open it back up.
I'll move closer.
Get Chrome leaks.
It does leak. That is true.
Memory leaks. Use up the memory in it and it stops. Right, Mike?
Yes, sir. I just turned the sound off, so I was on mute.
You're muting. I'm reading the rest of the stuff right now. I need to get back behind my wife. I got to figure out how to crack this nut here in real estate again.
Well, I think you've got to have some kind of budget, Bill, but I don't honestly think it. I think, and I've said this consistently through the 30 episode, and it was more instinctive, but through the 30 episode and by educating myself about the industry, my actual initial gut feeling, as I feel was correct, is that the most effective mythology is the mixture of the traditional and educating yourself on the realities of online marketing, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I think open houses, networking, getting cards, meeting some of these people for coffee, asking everybody that you're doing a decent newsletter, are they okay about you placing them in your database and contacting them, asking for that permission, but always asking, Bill, and having a script to explain that you'll be giving them some value by allowing them to do that. But then I think you got to serrate this, and the kind of there are quality alternatives to Zillow that you can obtain good leads.
He spent $800. He spent a lot of money. We need to have him back on.
Well, that's what I meant, Bill. I don't actually think you need to start having to spend. When you get to that level that Dave's managed to reach, that's fine. But I think we've talked about. Oh, here he is.
He's back.
He's back. I'll be back. Oh, he's back.
I jumped on my laptop.
Oh, your color's a lot better there.
It's a lot better.
I jumped on my laptop. I was using my iPhone before.
Yeah, it was a lot better actually. I wanted to ask you, Dave. You did mention that you've utilised Twitter a bit. So, could you tell us what your experience is and how you've tried to utilise Twitter?
Twitter in the early days was much easier. I mean, lately it's been kind of, especially here, our local hashtag has been very weak. It's been very. The news groups the newsies are using it more than anything else, or spammers are. So it's been very weak. The engagement's been very weak on it.
I got to go pick up my daughter at church, so I will listen to you guys on here. Yeah. I'm actually listening to the show right now.
Oh, he's off.
Does that mean you?
Yes.
That was quick.
Yeah,
the engagement's been very weak on Twitter, but I do. I mean, I still love it. It was my first love. I mean, I got on Twitter.
Oh, he's noisy.
I got on Twitter early on. I got on Twitter early on because I was doing a radio show, and I got fired from the radio show, and so I needed an outlet, and Twitter was my outlet.
Right.
But now lately the engagement's been very low. I would love for that to change, but we'll see if it happens or not.
So you've been utilising it more as a conversation, but as a listening device on certain hashtags.
Yeah, just to see what's happening out there, road conditions, school conditions, the news, And I may, I used to be kind of a whiner on there. I guess the best way to put it.
I would never guess that.
So, but now I'm trying to be a little more positive, but less preachy, and just just enjoy it. And I still love it though. Twitter's my first love, my first social love. How's that sound?
Have you ever looked at Twitter paid advertisement at all?
I have not. I'm still learning Facebook advertisement at this point. I've been using Google pay-per-click, Bing here and there. I did some but some YouTube ads with great success with YouTube. When I say success, I got some great views. It helped me out a lot. It helped me get some name recognition out there pretty quick. But I haven't utilized Twitter yet, and I'm probably gonna look at Instagram here more than anything else before I look at Twitter.
Yes, because the numbers are quite impressive. I'll give you that. So when it comes to Facebook advertisement, what have been some of the challenges that you felt that you're facing trying to get?
Dialing in my audience. I'm hitting Gary, Indiana more than I want to. And if you know Gary, if you don't know if you know Gary, Indiana or not.
Oh, I don't.
It used to be the murder capital. It used to be the murder capital of the world.
Oh dear.
and the so I don't want to sell houses there. And the cost per house is pretty cheap. The reason I focus on the neighborhoods I focus on is like I live in Michigan City, but I sell houses in Chester and Valparaiso. Because why should I sell a house for $100,000 in Michigan City when I go over there and sell a house for $200,000?
Yes,
and make twice as much money and not work as hard. And so that's why I work over where I work. So why would I go to Gary and sell a house for $50,000 and run the risk of
getting shot,
a higher crime area,
getting your tire slashed,
and getting my tire slashed, or any number of other things. So that's why for some reason I keep getting a lot of more Gary stuff than I want, and I'm not sure why that is, because I really don't focus on Gary, but my ads keep popping up there.
Yeah, because the obviously Facebook, their system does take a bit of research. Besides, they've got various criteria how you could break down. We'll probably in the next few episodes probably do some intense Facebook episodes where I go through some of the things I've learned and probably go through that. So do you think that would go like 2 to 3 episodes where I delve into Facebook in quite detail? Do you think that would be interesting to people? So I think I might do that. We're trying to get, I don't know if you've seen us before, but if you go to the Mail Right, and I'll put the address, we've got a YouTube channel where we've got about 30 episodes, and there's additional materials on the website. I think we've got a lot of good content, and we've had some really good guests recently. We've had a number of interesting guests that. So if you go and have a look at that, I think if you've got a spare moment and listen to some of it, I think you get some value from that, right, Dave?
I'll definitely check it out.
And
one thing I want to learn is maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing here, is be able to take a blab like this and turn it into a podcast.
Oh, well, my co-host Bill Conrad is the king. Yep. Is the king of blabbing and turning it into a blabcast. He's helped me enormously as the engineer. I've got one of the top-rated podcasts because I'm a programmer and a WordPress junkie, Dave. So we've got one of the top national podcasts around WordPress, and Bill's my co-host, and also Bill does an increasingly popular blab on Sunday evening around politics. And I think he was telling me that he got over 2,500 people download that show from Blab. So, and he does courses, and he really does know his stuff. I would contact if you're interested in that. I'm sure Bill would have a chat with you, and he'd be able to help you out with that.
I'll definitely check it out.
But so in 2016, I'm going to finish in the next 5-6 minutes, Dave. But in 2016, we're 10 days in. First of all, have you got any kind of marketing plan, or what's your objectives to reach in 2016? Have you?
Well, last year I closed $3.5 million in production.
That's great.
In 2016, I plan on doing $10 million
On your own, or
well, I want to build a team.
yes.
So my broker did 7.5, 8 last year. She intends to do 12. I want to do 10. If I want to hire a team, I basically want to hire either an inside sales agent or someone that can not generate, but can call my leads back.
Yes.
I'm great at generating leads. Last week, I think on one ad on Facebook, I generated 61 leads in a matter of 24 hours.
That's fantastic. And can you give some insight on what that was?
What it does, we have what's it's called Commissions Inc. And it's a website that they created for us, and it pulls in our IDX feed, which our IDX feed is our you know what an IDX feed is.
Yeah.
And so basically, what I did, I took a house that I have listed, and I went onto one of these local garage sale sites that for like LaPorte County, which is the county that I live in, LaPorte garage sale site, and I said, hey, is owning a home one of your 2016 goals? If so, check out the Castle House, which is a house that everybody knows is called the Castle House, which is the one I have listed. And I listed some of the highlights of the Castle House, one picture, put in a Google shortener link, the Google link, and literally within 24 hours, I had 61 leads.
Right. So basically, because what are the factors that led to that interest? Is it basically because they know the house, it's historic, it's well known?
No. Well, if it even wasn't that, it was still. Even if it wasn't that, if it was even my house, when I go to sell my house, I'll do it for Michigan City. I'll probably, and if I do it on a Thursday night, I'll probably get 25 to 35 leads.
Right.
In 24 hours.
So
it was the fact that it was the Castle House guy that got me 61 leads.
Right.
But if it was still my house or any other run of the mill house, I would have still generated 25 to 35 leads.
So basically, so you're saying that those people that saw it on Facebook are taken to the site, which then manages to get their contact details.
Yeah, if they want to see the pictures, they have to put their name and email and phone number. And sometimes I get the Mickey Mouse, the Minnie Mouse, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of the 61, I think I got 57.
And so of those 57, you then religiously contact them, do you?
I try to, but I still get so busy because I'm still getting Zillow and Trulia leads coming in, and those are hotter leads than the Facebook leads. I mean, I'll admit that all day long.
Yeah.
Because Zillow is hot. Zillow is the one someone who's looking at a specific house first. They want to call that house right now because the price is right. They've been looking at it for a while. They generally are interested. So the Zillow lead always seems to be a little hotter lead than the lead that I'm generating off my Commissions Inc. site.
Yeah, what I've learned from successful online individuals in the industry is that they do have a lot of leads, but then they either utilize virtual assistants.
And I thought about that too.
That there are services that do it of various quality levels. One of these services, I was very impressed, but they want you to commit to 40 hours, and they're looking at $2,000 a month. There's other alternatives, but you're normally sharing a virtual assistant. So, and sometimes the actual quality isn't as good as you hoped for. But you normally do need some system like that, and then they're cleansive, they're clarified. Are they reasonable leads? And then they can be passed on to another. If you in your team a junior colleague who then can do the in-house follow through. If you understand what I mean.
Yep.
It's finding that happy medium of getting leads at a certain cost level, and then cleansing them to a certain level where you see, because if you pass too many low-level leads to a junior colleague, they're probably going to get frustrated and they're probably going to leave you. So you've got to work out some system where you're not asking them to phone up somebody which is hopeless, that hasn't been some form of pre-qualification. And that's where it's just a volume game, isn't it, to some extent?
It is. I mean, my coach, I hired a real estate coach last quarter, and he said for every 25 leads that I'm generating, I should have a buyer's agent.
Yes, probably.
So right now, right now, with my volume, I should have 2 to 3 buyer's agents working for me. Well,
you do seem very active. So why did you decide to go down the coaching road? What led to that decision?
My broker kind of pushed me into it a little bit, and 2, I needed something to give me a swift kick in the ass. That wasn't my wife.
No, that wouldn't do. That wouldn't be very good, would it? No.
So I mean, when my wife does it, it's it's appreciated, but it's still generates some sort of in-house turmoil. So I chose to let's see, she and I talked about it. We decided to hire a coach, and that's why we went with a coach.
Yeah, but I'm getting a lot of echo from you, Bill.
What, you getting echo?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be getting. Just clip me off. That's weird. It shouldn't be, but I'll shut it down.
I got him. That was me that had him on.
He's got to go.
I'm trying to hang.
He's got to go. He's echoing too much there. So I lost that last bit because I got interrupted by the wizard.
It was just that it was instead of having an in-house turmoil to my wife and I with her, her trying to push me on, goad me on, and I needed someone to help me get my in-house systems set in place.
Right.
If I wanted to have a successful office, successful business at this, I'm a high C, on the DIS system, and I'm very loosey goosey. And I had a pretty successful mortgage company until the mortgage meltdown hit. But when the grand scheme of things, I mean, if I ever got investigated, my records were a total mess. I mean, my files were always a mess because nothing was ever in place the way they should be. So, but now with a coach, I'm keeping track of my numbers. If you told me how much money I made off Zillow last week, I could tell you how much money I made off Zillow last week or last month.
Right.
With what my ROI is going to be. Well, how much money I'm spending here and there and there, and that's what I needed. I needed a coach to help me get that in line.
So
that's exactly what we did.
How long have you been actively coached?
This is my 4th month.
This is your 4th month, and do you think it's a balance? Obviously, you can't expect miracles, but also at some time you got to get some result from coaching. So
I think about the 6th or 7th month, I'll see the results.
Right. I think that's a realistic. Period of time to see some.
But the good news about my coach is that if I hire a teammate, that they get coached for free. I pay an entrance fee for them of $250, and then they get coached for free as part of the team.
And do you mind? Is it?
It's Corcoran. It's Corcoran out of St. Louis.
Oh, right.
It's not Barb Corcoran, but it's spelled the same.
Yes.
It's Corcoran. Here.
Oh yes, yeah. There's a number. Did you look at any others, or were you just highly recommend?
I looked at a few. I mean, I'm friends with a couple coaches on Facebook, and my broker knew these guys. I met with them face to face, and just liked them. The only issue I had with them is they all seem to smoke, and I'm not a smoker, and I'm like, you guys all smoke, man. And to me, that's kind of a sign of weakness. I think sometimes, if you guys are smokers, I apologize, but it just kind of bugged me that they all smoke. But other than that, they all seem to know. They all had their head on their shoulders, and I was at an event with these guys, and every person there was a producer. Mm-hmm. Even meeting the number one team out of Tampa Bay, and they all had a coach.
Yes,
they all had a coach.
It does,
and I was the only one there that was producing good enough, but not good enough. And I was the one that didn't. I
think you're being a little bit critical. I think you're doing some logical things that if I was in your shoes, I would do. But I also think I think you're doing pretty well. I think obviously you're.
Yeah, but I want to do better.
Yeah. You know that you could do better. So
yeah.
The wizard asked this question. So you said, do you mind sharing what your ROI is from Zillow?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell what my ROI is, but I'm probably for every 10 calls that I'm getting, I'm closing 2 out of the deal.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
So last year, I closed 21 deals. 10 of them came from Zillow. So last year was half.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I did very well last year off of Zillow. But I've got. I mean, my reviews are maxed out. I got great reviews. If I think I'm gonna get a negative review from you, which I don't think I'd give any negative reviews. I don't ask for a review. I do everything right that I'm supposed to do on Zillow. The only thing I don't have on Zillow is a video. And that's because I just don't want to pay for it right now. It's $300 extra a month just to have a video.
That is a lot of money, isn't it?
So
really. So the reviews, funny enough, Part from Elright is encouraging more reviews.
Yeah.
And I try and hammer away at the agents that I work with that reviews are really important. But I also notice in the Reno area, Dave, and I don't know if it's the same in your area, is that I noticed that a lot of these reviews are obviously just made up, and it's pretty obvious that they are.
I've got 1 or 2 that are made up. I'll admit that they are. I've had a friend just to get the well primed. I had a friend or 2 go on there and do it.
Oh, these are worse than that, Dave.
Oh yeah, there's a few you can go on there and tell that they've been flat out made up.
They're
but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if Zillow's actually canceled two great reviews of mine that came from clients. Zillow has an algorithm that if they think they're fake, Zillow will kick them back out. And I fought with them. I said, hey, these are actually clients of mine. These are not friends of mine. They're clients of mine. I did that good of a job for them. So, and they still won't let them through.
So, because I say to all my agents, there's been research done by the Association of Realtors and other that potential sellers are pre-identifying much more earlier the agents that they possibly could work with, and they do read these reviews on Zillow, on Yelp, on Google Plus. When they do if they're recommended agent, they do a search of the agent, and they're checking you over a lot earlier than they might have done previously. Would you agree with that?
Oh, certainly. I mean, even like if I go in to meet with a client, I say, hey, Google me and Google the other guy, and see who comes up. See who comes up one. See who comes up more second, and see who got more reviews. I said, chances are I'll beat the other guy 2 to 3, 2 out of 3 times.
And do you think that's been an active influence of them choosing?
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. I mean, even like with the YouTube. I mean, I was walking through Kohl's last year, and some lady kept looking at me, and I'm kind of like, can I help you? I mean, she was really staring at me, and I was like, can I help you? She goes, are you Dave Woodson? I'm like, yeah, yes, I am. Can I help you? Because I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
So I was just watching one of your YouTube channels. I'm like, wow, it works. It was on her neighborhood, and they were all talking about it at a Christmas party. I was like, man, well, at least give me a listing to it. Let's go. But it was just kind of funny. It's like, I don't think it works, but it works. I mean, when someone's staring at you, he's like, "Man, okay, is my zipper pulled up, or am I doing something wrong here or something?" But the stuff does work. I mean, the online stuff, the reviews, the YouTube stuff, the social stuff. People are paying attention to you, and they are researching you.
Yeah. So on the social side, what we offer at Mailrite is that we provide about half the content that you might need, and we try and work with you that you provide another half or whatever you can that's more localized. So we find that most agents underestimate, especially on Twitter and to some extent their Facebook page. I always have arguments with agents that want to give up on their Facebook page, and I think that's lunacy because it's going to be indexed by Google, and secondly, it's the way to, you need it to be active so you can use it for paid advertisement. So,
I'm seeing more engagement. Like I'm seeing more views lately.
Yeah.
Am I being wrong? I mean,
no.
I mean, it's because I've heard that Facebook was turning it off.
Well, they reduce, basically
they reduce the views.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I'm still getting more views. I mean, sometimes when I don't update it for a week or two, I'll still get 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 views. So I'm like, well, I didn't do anything this week.
Well, it's just the quality. Obviously, I will look at your Facebook out of interest and love you back, and maybe we'll have a more official, have you back in the next couple of weeks to have an interview. Because it's fantastic. It's fantastic to speak to an agent and get their perspective. Really, I'm not an active agent. I make that clear. Bill, my co-host, his wife is an active agent, and he's got over with 25 years in the real estate industry. And we have got some great guests on that are coaches and active. I just want to quickly follow through. So you're in the 4th week of coaching on reflection. 4th month. What are there some kind of things that you've really learned from the process so far?
Don't hide anything. If you hide something, they'll find it out. I mean, just be open and honest with them. That's the biggest thing. Follow through. If you're not following through, you're wasting your money. And that's the biggest thing. And what's the other one that kind of stuck in my head the other day? Goals. They really hammering on your goals. I mean, since I'm a high C, I'm very loose on the goals. I don't write them down. If I do write them down, they're very loosely based. He wants a 1, 2, 3 stair step, and I'm having a hard time getting that.
Yeah,
he's having a hard time getting it through my thick head. And I think we finally got it down this week.
You're very hard. You're very harsh on yourself, Dave, aren't you?
I know, but this week we were supposed to meet early this week. One of my title agents took me out to lunch, and we pushed it back a week, and he's out in San Diego, and they had all the rains. And just right before we took the call, he had a mudslide, so we had to cancel the call till this Wednesday. So, but it's been eye opening, and I'm really enjoying the coaching. They're a great company, and if anybody's interested in Corcoran, and I can introduce them to them. I don't know if you guys do coaching or not, but they're fabulous.
But Bill does a little bit unofficially, but we're in the software and providing services. But if we have an interview and then you want to bring on your coach and maybe discuss,
we're not couples counseling.
That could be interesting, but some people won't be up to that. But they'll be interested to get both perspectives. I do believe in coaching because I do believe.
I was very anti-coaching until I went to one of their events.
Oh, right.
And then it was even still a month or two after that before I chose them as a coach.
Well, it is a commitment financially and also in time and personal commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it is. Both my wife and I are both involved in it with the coaching.
Oh, right.
So and she's not even involved in real estate. but since she does my books for me, she's involved in the coaching as well. She's an actuary.
Oh, right. So she's the right person to do.
Yeah. And she goes like, how much did you spend last month? Too much.
Well,
especially when I bought an iPad Pro.
To kind of, right. So when it comes to the actual websites, what have you learned about? Because I'm still amazed the amount of agents. I do understand it to some extent, especially if they're starting out. They get a page on their broker's website, but I think it's quite crucial that agent brands themselves and have their own website properties. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I definitely. I have one on my company's website, but I don't utilize it at all because I don't want to build. Because even though I've been with them forever and a day, I've had my license since 2009. I've hung my license with them since 2009, but I didn't start selling it until 2013.
Right.
I don't want to build up. I don't see myself going anywhere, but just what if I did? So what if I build? I don't even have a prime real estate email address.
Right.
I have a David Buying email address, and I still use my Gmail address for almost everything else. And I use a Dave Woodson Gmail address as well. But my website has been a source of contention for me for the last 2 years. I'm not happy with it. I'm trying to. I've got one through a guy out of New Hampshire, and it's not where I want it. So I just bought a new one through Playster.
Yeah, I think they offer. It's a difficult one, Dave, because I think it's great value, and they're based in Boston, and they do utilize WordPress. I'm a WordPress junkie. It's highly locked down, and you've got to be aware that you are renting. You're renting your presence. There's episode, I think it's episode 29 on the Mel Wright YouTube channel. I forgot the name, Jeff, and he wrote a great article on Igman's website about you got to know what you're buying into and fully understand that. But that would be my only concern is you're renting to a certain extent, and they are templates, and there's only so far you can customize them. But when it comes to WordPress itself, I think WordPress as a platform is the ideal platform for agents because I
agree 100%, but WordPress is now 3 years ahead of me, and I don't have time to maintain my own website anymore, and I don't want to maintain my own website anymore, and I don't want to break it.
No.
And I've broken too many websites.
Yeah, I understand.
And so I want to be able to set it and forget it. Just want to put content on it.
Yeah.
I want to be able to put a podcast on it. I want to be able to upload a video on it, and that's all I want to be able to do to it. And I don't want it to cost me more than I don't want it to cost me more than $1,000 a year.
Yeah, I think that. Well, if you wanted some advice, just approach me, and we'll try and help you out, Dave.
I will look you up when we're done here.
Well, no, just no. But if you just want some advice, I'll always be here for you. I'm a pretty open guy.
I'm looking for a new website because I am tired of mine. I mean, I was surprised today. I popped it in the first page or something. And I was like, how the hell did I get here?
Well, you must be updating it regularly, fundamentally. Yeah.
Well, I still have I do have a WordPress IDX website right now.
Yeah. But do you update it? Do you blog actively?
No, but the IDX does. Yeah, I do get the feed from the IDX, so that's being indexed. So that helps.
But
But I haven't updated it probably in a year and a half.
Yeah,
or probably in a year.
I think you don't have to go crazy, Dave. Don't get me wrong. I actually think rather than just write something that's rather shallow, I think it's best to write something every quarter that's about a particular area that you cover, and do it in some depth. And
something that I was doing that I was getting me a lot of recognition, and I stopped because I got busy.
Yeah.
I had an uncle that died on me, so that kind of took me out of the cycle for 2 weeks. And next thing you know, I got busy again.
Yeah.
Was doing every week. I was doing the top 5 listings of the week.
Oh, that's a great idea. Actually, I really like that. That's a great idea.
And so I was talking about 5 houses.
Yeah.
That my company listed. So basically, everybody in the company gave me permission to use their houses, and I just picked out 5 of the best houses. Picked out one of mine, one of my brokers, and then whoever else I wanted to use. And I just talked about it. And 1 week it would be me and my daughter in the car driving, and we would just throw the houses up as we drove. And people liked it. I mean, even other brokers were calling me. They were starting to go like,
"Oh, it's frozen.
Could you include one of mine?" I was like, "Well, when I run out of mine, I'll use yours." So.
Oh, and you felt you were getting some good response from that?
Yeah, I will, and I'll probably start it back up this spring again.
Yeah, I think it sounded a really good platform, actually. It's the difficult thing is when you're doing a weekly commitment like that, Dave, is when you get really, really busy, something's got to give. Where I kind of say to people, I think one area that I really kind of push with agents is that they on their website they have different areas and they write up a really nice write-up of each area, and then they do a kind of video of themselves talking about that area, and that can be what is called real evergreen content that can get you good SEO juice for quite a long period, and it builds, so you don't have to update it that often, and it really builds up SEO juice over an extended period, and you can always add to it as well.
So that's why I love doing videos on neighborhoods. The neighborhoods aren't going to change. They're always going to have 2 or 3 car garages. They're always going to have fences. They may or may not have an HOA. The house values may go up or go down, but that's always built in by the time of the year that I do it or the year that I do it. So that's why I like doing neighborhood tours.
Yeah. So what I've done is I put my email address in there into Blab. So if you want to email me, I'd love to have you on next week. We always do it around 5:30 to 5:45. Maybe you would like to come on for the interview, and we do a kind of formal session for like 20 minutes. Which we record, and we are planning to do a podcast. We've built up about 35 interviews and episodes, and we're going to take 8 of those in the next
5:30 to 5:45. What time zone was that?
That's Pacific.
So that would be like 7:30, 7:45 Central Time. So okay.
Yeah.
But I'll email you. Then just send me an invite on that, so make sure I don't forget.
No, and if you need any advice about MailRite, about WordPress, just contact me, and we can have a video conference call, and I'll give you as much free advice as I can give you. And I find obviously I'm pretty busy, but I try and help people as much as I can, and I do find that I do get a payback at some stage from it. People tend to refer you or try and help you, as long as they're not psychopaths. If they're psychopaths, they don't care how much you help them. But most people, as long as you're straight with them and you try and help them, they normally try and help you. So, and I do understand. The one thing I've learned about the real estate industry, Dave, is there's a lot of hard work involved in it. People think it's easy money,
yeah. People think it's. People think they can do it. People think they can do it, and it's. I said, "Welcome to the jungle, baby." Well,
and you have got a wife, and it sounds you got some support. But the other factor is it can be a bit lonely.
It can. There's days it's like I just want to drive my car right into the nearest semis, but it can be frustrating. It's just like and you just want to call. You just want to like, are you that stupid sometimes? I mean, you just want to call. It's like, you know what you just did? You know what you just said? Yeah, you can't be that stupid. You did that.
You're breaking up a little bit. Oh, the internet. This one finished, Dave. Oh, you're going to come? I'm waiting, Dave. Oh, there you go.
Who buy a car right before they come out?
Oh, you? No, I don't think so. You're breaking up a bit,
Call it a
Dave.
night.
So maybe refresh it, and then we're finished. Oops. Maybe it's going to. Hopefully, he's going to come back, folks, and we can refresh. This is the problem with Blab sometimes. Oh, here he comes.
Maybe.
There,
Yeah, I'm
there we go,
wireless
Dave.
too, so
Well,
I'm on Wi-Fi.
yeah, but I'll contact you, and then maybe you come on next week. If you can't, it's no problem.
I appreciate
and
it.
it's been great chatting with you, Dave. I actually think we've given some insights and some
I
value
do believe
here.
so. I
Don't you
appreciate it
think
too.
so?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been great. I really enjoyed it. So have a great week and sell loads.
I'm trying. I'm
sell
remodeling
loads of
one, so I need the
houses.
money. I need lots of it. Thank you, sir. Talk
All
to you
right.
soon.
Lovely talking to you,
Bye.
Dave. There we go, folks. I actually think we have had a great discussion. We covered some interesting stuff with my co-host, the Wizard, Bill Conrad. He's very knowledgeable on utilising Blab and podcasting and video for real estate agents. And I've tried. I'm the techie of us two. And I think it's ended up being a great discussion. We'll be around next week around 5:30, 5:45 Pacific Standard Time. We try and get pre-guests. We couldn't get one this week. Hopefully Dave will join us, because I think that was quite an insightful discussion about what you got to really do to get results in 2016 if you're a serious agent. And there's a lot of balls that you got to juggle, but I don't think it's impossible either. I think the good news, folks, is you're quite capable of really getting some great results. You just need good coaching, understand what you're getting involved in. And I think there's the tools and the mechanisms out there for you to get some great results. So hopefully you'll join us next week, and we'll talk some more about getting results for real estate agents and brokers. Speak to you soon, phone.